The 1970s should have been the death of the American car. An oil crisis crippled the country, insurance companies declared war on horsepower, and the government came after Detroit with regulations nobody thought it would survive. And yet, out of that chaos, 11 cars rose up that changed everything. Some of them made history. Some of them hid dark secrets under their hoods. And at least one of them almost got its own manufacturer sued into oblivion. If you think you know the story of 1970s cars, you don't. Not yet. Because by the end of this video, you'll understand why one car on this list was quietly pulled from dealership lots, why another became a symbol of an entire generation's rebellion, and why the final car here still terrifies collectors to this day. Let's go back. Because this decade was far more dangerous than anyone remembers. To understand these 11 cars, you have to understand what America was going through. In 1973, the oil embargo hit, and gas prices didn't just rise, they exploded. Lines at gas stations stretched for blocks. People sat in their cars for hours, engines off, praying the pump wouldn't run dry before they got there. Detroit had spent a decade building bigger engines, heavier steel, and louder exhausts, and suddenly, none of that mattered anymore. The muscle car era, born in the swagger of the late 1960s, was staring down its own extinction. Insurance companies began quietly blacklisting entire model lines, refusing to cover anything with too much horsepower under the hood. Government regulators, meanwhile, were drafting emissions rules that engineers privately admitted might be impossible to meet without gutting performance entirely. It felt, for a moment, like the end of an era that had barely even begun. But something strange happened. Instead of dying quietly, the American car industry fought back, and in that fight, legends were born. This is the story of the cars that survived, adapted, and, in some cases, terrified their way into becoming icons that we still talk about, buy, and restore half a century later. We start with a car that nobody expected to become dangerous, the Ford Pinto. On paper, it was simple, cheap, and exactly what fuel crisis America needed. Millions of buyers lined up for it, drawn in by a price tag that finally made sense in a world of soaring gas prices. But there was a secret buried in its design that would haunt Ford for years. Engineers had discovered a flaw in the fuel tank placement, one that made rear-end collisions catastrophic. Internal documents later revealed something chilling. It may have been cheaper for Ford to pay off lawsuits than to fix the problem before it ever left the factory. For years, ordinary families drove this car to work, to school, to weekend road trips, completely unaware of the risk hiding just behind the rear bumper. When that story broke, it didn't just damage a car's reputation, it changed how the entire auto industry thought about safety forever. And it's a shadow that still follows this car's legacy today. Next, the Chevrolet Vega. It was supposed to be General Motors' answer to the import invasion. Sleek, modern, and efficient, rushed into production to prove Detroit could still compete on Toyota and Datsun's own turf. But under that shiny new shell was an engine block made of an experimental aluminum alloy that engineers hadn't fully tested for long-term durability. Owners began reporting engines that wore out in years, not decades, pistons scraping against cylinder walls that had never been designed to handle years of daily abuse. Dealerships quietly fielded complaint after complaint. But by the time GM acknowledged the flaw, the damage to the Vega's reputation was already done. It became a cautionary tale of a company moving faster than its own engineering could keep up with. A warning that rushing to compete can be just as dangerous as falling behind. Then there's the Toyota Corolla, the quiet outsider that Detroit never saw coming. While American manufacturers panicked over gas prices and scrambled to redesign entire model lines overnight, Toyota had already spent years quietly perfecting something almost un-American at the time. Reliability over raw power, patience over flash. Nobody in Detroit's boardrooms took it seriously. Until dealership lots across the country started selling out, and repeat customers began trading in their American cars specifically to buy another Corolla. By the time American manufacturers realized what was happening, an entire generation had already fallen in love with a car built on the other side of the world, and the balance of power in the auto industry had shifted forever. Now we get into the cars that defined an era, starting with the Ford Mustang. But this isn't the swaggering muscle car from the 60s anymore. As the decade wore on, the Mustang was forced to shrink, transforming into the controversial Mustang 220. Loyal fans were furious. Critics called it a betrayal of everything the Mustang stood for. But here's the twist nobody talks about. That watered-down Mustang may have single-handedly saved the nameplate from being discontinued entirely. This is the one I told you about, the Chevrolet Camaro. On the surface, it was Chevrolet's aggressive, muscular answer to the Mustang. A V8 icon with long hood, short deck styling that screamed power the moment it rolled off the lot. But behind the scenes, GM executives were seriously debating killing the Camaro altogether as emissions regulations tightened and production costs climbed higher than projected. Memos from the era describe a company torn between preserving a performance legacy and cutting losses on a model that was quietly bleeding money. It survived by the thinnest of margins, a decision made in a boardroom that could have erased one of America's most iconic cars from history entirely. If one vote had gone differently, the Camaro you know today, the one still rolling off production lines decades later, simply wouldn't exist. The Dodge Charger carried the weight of its late 60s legacy into a new, more sophisticated decade. It wasn't just a muscle car anymore. It was evolving into something GM and Ford hadn't anticipated. A car that blended aggression with comfort. But as insurance premiums for high-horsepower cars skyrocketed, Dodge quietly began detuning engines behind the scenes, terrified that one more high-profile accident involving a Charger could bring regulatory hammers down even harder. The Pontiac Trans Am doesn't just belong on this list, it practically defines it. With its shaker hood scoop and unmistakable silhouette, the Trans Am became a rolling symbol of rebellion against a decade that was trying to tame every car on the road. And there's a reason it later became a Hollywood legend. Because this car represented something dangerous, something that refused to slow down even when everything around it demanded it should. The Chevrolet Monte Carlo introduced something new to America, the personal luxury coupe. It combined muscle car DNA with plush, comfortable interiors, appealing to buyers who wanted power without sacrificing comfort. But few people know Chevrolet was taking a massive gamble with this car, blending two completely different buyer psychologies into a single vehicle, betting the company's engineering resources on a hybrid identity that could have failed spectacularly. Then there's the Chevrolet Nova, the car everyone owned but nobody talked about. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't controversial. It was simply everywhere. And that's exactly what made it dangerous to Detroit's bigger, more expensive models. Because when a car this practical, this affordable, and this reliable exists, it quietly steals sales away from every flagship model around it. The Volkswagen Beetle deserves its place here for a different reason entirely. It survived not because of power, but because of pure, stubborn simplicity in a decade obsessed with change. While American manufacturers scrambled to redesign, downsize, and reinvent themselves, the Beetle barely changed at all. and that consistency became its greatest weapon. And finally, we arrive at the car that closes out this list, the Ford Bronco. Early in the decade,